This is Greg Trotwine with Maritime Reporter TV, and we're very pleased to be joined today by Mia Elge of Deltamarin to discuss the contents of her article in the January 2025 edition of Maritime Reporter and Engineering News that talks about solving heat issues in ship energy system flow. So, Mia, just to start us off, can you give a brief overview of Deltamarin today and discuss your position and responsibilities in the company?
Deltamarin provides consulting, engineering, design services for maritime industry, offshore structures, and so you could say that we design everything that floats. And also myself, I've been in the company for now almost 18 years. So I've been also involved actually in well, all kinds of let's say vessel designs, cruise ship ropebacks, ro-ros, tankers, bulkers, some FPSO projects. So I've seen a lot and also been on board some.
Mia, can you give a framework to the piece that you wrote for our January edition? This is a technical audience, so they very well know the challenges in dealing with heat on board a vessel. But how specifically does the matter of heat management on board ships play into the whole decarbonization discussion?
This is actually also very, very much, let's say, my world, because my background is in thermodynamics and especially different energy conversions, energy systems. So when we think about the decarbonization, so it's actually a very holistic thing for any let's say structure or ship. So it means that even though, however good to design and low energy consuming vessel or low energy consuming operation vessel we design, so still we're surely going to need some energy to move the ship and so on. So decarbonization means that we will have to enter some new kinds of fuels, low carbon fuels to the ships, or then introduce, for example, electrification, or maybe even carbon capture, that kind of things. So what it means compared to maybe the traditional designs that we're used to having with maybe heavy fuel oil or diesel fueled vessels, fossil based. So these new changes and decarbonization, so it means that, for example, when we, as I said in the article, when we plug the ship in electricity, so that means that actually we are cutting the engines. So we are not operating them. And when we are not operating the engines, so we lose all waste heat, which is actually a reason why these heat processes very often are a little bit invisible for ships, because we're used to kind of have a lot of waste heat from the engines and then just use it directly as heat, and therefore the additional heat production is very little. So that is one concrete, thing what happens, and of course then when we change the fuels, so we have also new kind of qualities in them. We need new kinds of processes. Sometimes we maybe need also less heat for processing the fuels, or we have new increased waste heat recovery opportunities. So we are kind of actually changing, if we say it shortly, we just changed the whole energy system somehow.
What specifically are some steps that vessel designers and owners can take by technology or technique that they can deploy to head off or to solve heat issues in a ship's energy system flow?
Yeah, that's of course also a complex thing, but it's like eating the elephant piece by piece. So well, first of all, we have to, at least if there's no focus on the heat system. So the first thing is to understand how much heat we have and what kind of consumers we have and how they could be maybe changed. If we think about like maybe thermodynamic principles of efficient heat processes, so it would actually make sense to try to think what kind of temperatures, for example, our heat consumers actually need, not necessarily how we now are used to maybe heat them with steam, for example. Because if we produce or are able to kind of, for example, meet the temperature requirements with somewhat close temperature heat source, that is then already one item, which, for example, enables us to start looking at heat pumps for heating. That is one. We see that in a lot of projects when we have shore power batteries involved. So we are looking at this kind of new kinds of heat sources. So that is at least one thing I could mention.